Okay, hello. My name's Richard Schaub, and I'm doing a project for CU Boulder on the importance and origins of the yamika or kippah. And to start this off, I guess I could start by asking a little bit about yourself. So, who are you?
I'm Rabbi Davis. Some people are known far and wide. I'm known near and thin as Reb Bahir.
So, you're a rabbi. What denomination are you?
That's interesting. I'm not of one denomination. My smicha, ordination certificate, has been signed by rabbis of every denomination. And so I am a rabbi without borders, without denominations.
So, I think the first question I should start off with is something I couldn't find any information about online, and that is, what do you prefer? Is it yamika or is it kippah?
Right. They do not ask me online, which I prefer. I can understand where you wouldn't find anything about that. But there are two names for this device that we wear on our heads. The Hebrew is kippah. The Yiddish is yarmulke.
Okay.
And as with all things in Judaism, there are explanations. So kippah comes like cup, head, and head covering. And yarmulke, even though it's Yiddish, they try and attach it to the Aramaic and say yare malka, that is to have awe for God.
Wow. Okay. So, to have awe for God, I guess.
And you'll notice I didn't answer your question. You can call it whatever you want.
So that's really cool. That's really interesting. I guess that could kind of bring us into the sort of meat of this interview, which is, what are the origins of the yamika slash kippah slash whatever you want to call it?
Well, anyway, anytime you ask a question of Jewish history, Jewish tradition, there are always three answers. The first answer is the traditional answer. What is the tradition? What does the tradition say? And then there is the historical slash actual or truthful or factual answer. Historical factual answer is what was in history and what the facts lead us, what direction they lead us. And then the third, which is the most important, is what do I feel about it? So let's start there. We'll start with the tradition.
Okay.
Tradition has it that we've always done it. Tradition has it that my father did it, his father did it, his father did it, so we do it.
Mm-hmm.
But it's more than that.
Okay, so that makes sense. I get the tradition aspect, doing it because it's been done. I get that. You mentioned historical. What's
historical, factual. So if you look in history and you try and find out why do we do this, again, we start right on the edge of tradition. And the edge of tradition, it says, for example, in the Mishnah, which is one of our great and very powerful teaching works, if I remember correctly, it was Shabbat, on a Mishnah Shabbat, they talk about the kippah. And a student does actually ask his Rebbe, why do we wear a kippah? And he says, Yirat Shemayim, for the awe of heaven. In other words, a sign of respect. Now that's what the rabbi said then. That's right on the cusp of tradition and historical factual answer. Because in the Middle East, as opposed to the West, it is a custom to put something on your head as a sign of respect. For us in the West, we take our hat off when we walk inside.
Right, it's the opposite.
But they always would have their head covered.
Huh.
And this is true in Judaism, it is true in Islam, it's true in Buddhism, even in Catholicism, in the clergy. You'll see that they wear a kippah-like device. So, since this was a historical tradition, it's a good term, that people did it there, when we were transported to other places, it came with us. Now, there was an argument as to whether or not it was halacha, a mitzvah, whether it was law. And some say yes, and some say no. We're Jews. We're always going to give that answer. So, my answer, which agrees with the historical factual, which agrees with the traditional, and this is a rarity, is I do it out of a sense of sacred connection. Historical factual says we do it out of sense of awe, and tradition says we've always done it, and we relate to each other through seeing it.